The UES Dauntless glided through the star-speckled void, its hull gleaming under distant suns. On the bridge, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood with perfect posture, her weathered hands clasped behind her back. 30 years of naval service had prepared her for many things, but first contact was a scenario confined to training simulations. Until today. Unknown vessel has altered course, Lieutenant Park reported, voice steady despite the tension crackling through the command deck. They're intercepting, Admiral. The view screen magnified the approaching ship. Unlike the utilitarian design of the Dauntless, the alien vessel resembled a work of art, impossibly sleek, with crystalline structures that seemed to flow rather than connect. It radiated technological superiority from every angle. Open communications, all frequencies, Elena ordered. Standard greeting package. The bridge fell silent as the crew awaited a response. When it came, the alien's voice processed through the translation matrix with an unsettling musical quality. Unidentified species vessel, you have entered territory claimed by the Galactic Hegemony. Identify your civilization and purpose. Elena stepped forward. I am Admiral Elena Vasquez of the United Earth ship Dauntless. We are explorers seeking peaceful contact with other intelligent life. A pause followed then. Our scans indicate your propulsion and defensive systems are remarkably rudimentary. How recently did your species achieve interstellar capability? The condescension in the alien commander's tone wasn't lost on Elena. We've been traveling among the stars for nearly a century, she answered diplomatically. The alien communication carried what might have been laughter. Fascinating. The hegemony has maintained galactic stability for 40,000 years. Your arrival is most unexpected. Science Officer Jenkins whispered from her station. Admiral, they're scanning us extensively. Energy readings from their vessel are spiking. Elena maintained her composed expression. We come with peaceful intentions and hope to establish diplomatic. Your species requires guidance, the alien commander interrupted. The Hegemony Council will determine your appropriate development path. First, a demonstration of the natural order is necessary. The tactical officer shouted. Energy surge. They're powering weapons. Shields up, Elena commanded, but the order came a split second too late. The alien beam struck the Dauntless with surgical precision, targeting what their scans identified as the primary power distribution node. The bridge shuddered violently, consoles exploding in showers of sparks. Emergency lighting bathed the crew in crimson as damage reports flooded in. Yet the expected catastrophic failure never materialized. Shields at 62%, the tactical officer reported with surprise. Hull integrity holding. Secondary and tertiary power systems engaged automatically. On the view screen, the alien commander's expression shifted from confidence to confusion. Impossible. Your vessel should be disabled. Elena steadied herself against her command chair, a trickle of blood running from her temple. Return fire, she ordered calmly. All functional batteries. The Dauntless responded with a barrage that lacked the precision of the alien attack, but compensated with raw power. The hegemony vessel's shields flared brilliantly, then failed under the sustained assault. The alien ship listed to one side, crystalline sections fracturing. They're retreating, Lieutenant Park announced as the enemy vessel accelerated away, trailing debris. Elena watched the tactical display, noting the alien ship's trajectory. They're heading toward the galactic core, she said quietly, sending a message home. She turned to her communications officer. Set course for Earth, maximum speed. We need to prepare. Her gaze returned to the stars, now harboring an unknown threat. The galaxy just got a lot smaller, and a lot more dangerous. Dr. Raju Sharma's fingers danced across the holographic interface, manipulating the three-dimensional blueprint hovering above the projection table. Around him, the orbital shipyard hummed with unprecedented activity as Earth prepared for what military analysts now called inevitable conflict. The Dauntless shouldn't have survived that attack, Admiral Chen said, studying the damage simulations. His weathered face reflected decades of naval service, yet nothing in his experience had prepared him for extraterrestrial war. Our tech is a century behind theirs, at minimum. That's precisely why we survived, Rajiv replied, expanding a cross-section of the hull design. The hegemony builds ships like artwork, elegant, integrated, perfect. We build ours like battleships. The hologram zoomed into the ship's infrastructure, revealing layers of redundant systems, isolated compartments, and manual overrides. They targeted what they identified as our primary power distribution node. Rajiv continued, highlighting the damaged section. But when it failed, 3 secondary systems activated automatically. Their scanners couldn't differentiate between primary and backup systems because the design philosophy is alien to them. Literally. The briefing room door slid open as Aisha Okafor entered, her lab coat wrinkled from another all-night research session. At 28, she was the youngest senior engineer in the fleet, but her unconventional thinking had earned her place at this table. "The Dauntless sensor logs are fascinating," she said, transferring data to the central display. "The hegemony weapons operate on principles we've never seen, but they have distinct energy signatures and discharge patterns." Admiral Chen frowned. "How does that help us?" "Because," Aisha said, eyes bright with discovery, "patterns can be predicted. And what can be predicted can be countered." The display shifted to show waveform analyses of the alien weapon discharge. Their technology is elegant but consistent. They haven't needed to innovate tactically for thousands of years because no one has challenged them. Rajiv nodded appreciatively. "While we've spent centuries fighting each other, forcing constant adaptation." "Exactly," Aisha confirmed. "My team is already developing countermeasures based on these patterns, but there's something more." She pulled up new schematics, her theoretical design that had been rejected 3 times by the Admiralty for being too experimental. "My honeycomb hull structure," she explained. "It doesn't just withstand impacts, it learns from them, redistributing stress and adapting to repeated weapon strikes." Admiral Chen studied the design, skepticism evident. Construction time. "With the entire orbital facility dedicated to the project, we could retrofit the fleet in 3 weeks, Rajiv calculated. "The basic principles are already incorporated in our current designs. We're just enhancing what saved the Dauntless." The Admiral's comm unit chimed with emergency priority. His expression darkened as he read the message. "Intelligence reports the hegemony has dispatched their 3rd fleet, 40 vessels, to the Sol system. Estimated arrival, 18 days. Silence fell over the room as the implications settled in. "Start with the Jupiter Defense Group," Chen ordered finally. "If we can't hold them there, Earth will have no chance." Rajiv and Aisha shared a determined look. "We'll need every engineer working round the clock," Rajiv said. "And I'd want unrestricted access to the alien weapon data from the Dauntless encounter." "Granted," Chen replied, already moving toward the door. "Humanity has survived every catastrophe nature has thrown at us. Now we'll see if we can survive our first interstellar war." As the Admiral departed, Aisha turned to the hull schematics, determination hardening her features. "They think we're primitive," she said quietly. "Let's show them what primitive can do." Captain Marcus Chen stood before the viewport of the UES Thermopylae, watching as Jupiter's swirling storms provided a dramatic backdrop for humanity's hastily assembled defense force. 22 ships, ranging from battle-tested cruisers to converted mining vessels retrofitted with military hardware. It wasn't much to stand against 40 hegemony warships, but it was everything Earth could muster on short notice. "Final system checks complete, Captain," First Officer Rodriguez reported, sliding a tablet across the command console. "Aisha's honeycomb reinforcement is operational on 17 vessels, including ours. The remaining 5 have partial coverage." Chen nodded, scanning the readiness reports. 2 weeks of around-the-clock retrofitting had pushed crews to their limits, but the determination in every engineer's eyes told him morale remained high. They understood the stakes. Status of the civilian evacuation from the Jovian colonies. Complete as of 600 hours, Rodriguez confirmed. All non-essential personnel have been relocated to Mars or Earth. Remaining stations are running on skeleton crews for emergency support only. Chen took a deep breath, feeling the weight of command. The Thermopylae wasn't the fleet's newest or largest vessel, but its combat systems had been upgraded with Dr. Sharma's latest innovations and Aisha's experimental honeycomb hull. If humanity had a technological edge, it would be tested here first. All vessels, battle formation Delta, he ordered. Maintain calm discipline and remember your training. The human fleet spread into a three-dimensional defensive pattern, utilizing Jupiter's moons for tactical positioning. The gas giant's radiation belts would interfere with long-range sensors, forcing the coming battle into closer quarters than the hegemony would prefer. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected, the sensor officer announced, her voice steady despite the tension. 43 vessels emerging at coordinates 227 Mark 089. More than expected, Chen kept his expression neutral for the crew's benefit. The hegemony fleet materialized like a school of silver fish, their formation perfect and intimidating. Each vessel dwarfed even the largest human cruiser, their crystalline structures catching Jupiter's light in dazzling refractions. The main view screen activated automatically as the alien flagship broadcast on all frequencies. "Attention primitive human fleet," the hegemony commander's translated voice resonated with artificial precision. "The galactic hegemony has determined your species requires supervision to develop appropriately. Surrender your vessels and withdraw to your homeworld to await the Council's judgment." Chen allowed himself a thin smile before activating the response channel. "This is Captain Marcus Chen of the United Earth ship Thermopylae. The Sol system is sovereign human territory. We did not seek conflict, but we will defend our home." A pause followed, likely the alien commander consulting with subordinates about this unexpected defiance. "Your technology is inferior. Your numbers are insufficient. Resistance will result in unnecessary destruction," the hegemony commander replied. "You have 12 minutes to power down your vessels and prepare for boarding." Chen cut the transmission and turned to his tactical officer. "Execute Operation Phalanx. All ships, engage according to your designated targets." What followed shocked the hegemony fleet. Rather than maintaining a defensive posture, the human vessels accelerated directly toward the alien formation, weapons charging. It was a tactic the hegemony considered suicidal. Smaller forces attacking larger ones in direct confrontation violated every principle of their military doctrine. The Thermopylae shuddered as it absorbed the first volley from 3 hegemony cruisers. Warning lights flashed across the bridge, but the honeycomb hull performed as designed, distributing the energy impact and maintaining structural integrity. Hull integrity at 92%. The damage control officer reported with surprised relief. Adaptive shielding is learning their weapons pattern. Chen nodded grimly. "Return fire, all batteries. Target their primary weapon emplacements." Human weaponry lacked the precision of hegemony technology, but compensated with raw power and volume. Missiles and energy beams struck the lead alien vessels, causing more damage than their simulations had predicted possible. The battle split into chaotic engagements throughout Jupiter's orbit. Human ships took significant damage, but refused to retreat or surrender. When hegemony weapons successfully penetrated defenses, emergency bulkheads sealed compromised sections. When critical systems failed, backup systems engaged automatically. Most shocking to the hegemony commanders, human engineers conducted repairs during combat, a concept foreign to their operational protocols. When the hegemony flagship scored a direct hit on the UES Defiant, crippling its main reactor, they logged the vessel as neutralized, only to witness it re-engage 9 minutes later, running on auxiliary power. By the battle's second day, the confusion within the hegemony command structure was evident. Their formation had fragmented as individual ship commanders struggled to adapt to human tactics. Following standard protocol, damaged hegemony vessels retreated to safe distances for assessment. but found themselves picked off by smaller, more agile human ships that continued fighting despite comparable damage. On the Thermopyla's bridge, now illuminated primarily by emergency lighting, Captain Chen reviewed the tactical display. His uniform was scorched, one arm bandaged where a console explosion had caught him. 8 human vessels had been destroyed or crippled beyond recovery, but the hegemony had lost 17 ships, an impossible outcome according to their battle projections. They're regrouping, Rodriguez reported, her face streaked with soot. Looks like they're consolidating their remaining forces for a coordinated strike. Chen studied the enemy movement, then glanced at the damage reports from his remaining vessels. None were above 60% combat effectiveness, but all remained operational. All ships implement maneuver Leonidas, he ordered. Draw them into Jupiter's upper atmosphere corridor. As the hegemony fleet moved to finish what they believed was a doomed human resistance, they failed to recognize the trap being set. The atmospheric gases of the gas giant would amplify certain weapon effects while nullifying others, another variable they hadn't encountered in millennia of unopposed military dominance. Chen gazed at Jupiter's swirling clouds. Now we teach them about fighting against the odds, he murmured. Something humanity has always excelled at. The pristine halls of the hegemony science vessel Luminous Inquiry hummed with uncharacteristic anxiety. Senior researcher Vextor moved between analysis stations, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the blue glow of holographic displays. Around him, the finest scientific minds from 3 hegemony species studied fragments of human vessels recovered from the Jupiter battlefield. Impossible, muttered a mirrored scientist, her tentacles manipulating a scorched circuit board. This technology shouldn't function. The integration is crude, inefficient. Yet it does function, Vextor replied, examining a cross-section of human hull material. Even after catastrophic damage, the laboratory's main display activated, showing the Axiom High Commander's imposing form. Your preliminary findings, senior researcher. Vextor straightened. The humans employ what we would consider obsolete methodologies, High Commander. Their systems feature extensive redundancies and manual overrides. When their computer networks fail, they utilize analog backups that our digital warfare cannot disable. Primitive, the High Commander dismissed. With respect, Vextor countered, this primitive approach proved unexpectedly effective. Their hull materials actually strengthen under certain types of energy bombardment, a metallurgical technique we abandoned millennia ago as inelegant. The High Commander's crystalline features hardened. The Council demands solutions, not excuses. The Third Fleet's defeat was unprecedented in 40,000 years. We're adapting our weapons to bypass their defensive innovations, Vextor assured him. But there's something else you should know. He transferred data to the commander's console. We've detected unusual energy signatures from Earth. They're integrating our technology with theirs at an alarming rate. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving Vextor staring at the empty display. He turned back to the human artifacts, a feeling uncomfortably close to respect forming in his analytical mind. In the orbital shipyards above Earth, similar analysis occurred in reverse. Dr. Rajiv Sharma and Aisha Okafor stood surrounded by holographic projections of hegemony weapon systems, extracted from battle data and recovered debris. Their technology follows perfect mathematical principles, Aisha observed, manipulating a 3-dimensional energy pattern. Beautiful, elegant, and predictable. Admiral Vasquez, recently promoted to oversee Earth's defense after the Jupiter victory, studied the display with tired eyes. 3 days without sleep had taken their toll, but the veteran officer remained focused. Can we exploit this predictability? She asked. Aisha's fingers danced through the hologram, highlighting specific energy wavelengths. Already implementing it. Every hegemony weapon operates on precise frequencies and intervals. They never needed to vary them because no one has challenged them for millennia. Dr. Sharma continued her thought. While humanity's military history forced constant adaptation, our technologies evolved through competition, theirs through refinement. He gestured toward the window. where the massive framework of Operation Turtle Shell was taking shape, a defensive grid incorporating asteroids converted into armed platforms around Earth. The Jupiter engagement bought us time, Vasquez noted, but intelligence suggests they're mobilizing their entire military. Next time we'll face hundreds of ships, not dozens. Aisha straightened, dark circles under her eyes belying her energetic tone. Which is why I've been developing this. She transferred data from her tablet to the main display, showing a revolutionary shield design. Conventional shields try to repel energy, she explained. This system absorbs it instead, using the enemy's own weapons to strengthen our defenses. The more they hit us, the stronger the shield becomes. Sharma examined the equations with raised eyebrows. This violates 3 established engineering principles, which is exactly why the hegemony would never develop it. Aisha replied with a tired smile. Their entire technological philosophy is built on elegant solutions. This is beautifully inelegant. Admiral Vasquez studied the proposal, years of command experience weighing potential against risk. Simulation results. 300% improvement in survivability against known hegemony weapons, Aisha answered. We've tested it successfully on destroyer-scale shields. Scaling up will require. A priority alert interrupted her. Admiral Vasquez accessed the message, her expression darkening. Long-range sensors have detected hyperspace disturbances near Saturn. Massive fleet movements. She looked up grimly. They're coming back, sooner than expected, and in much greater numbers. The room fell silent as the implications settled in. How long do we have? Sharma finally asked. 4 days, maybe 5. Vasquez turned to Aisha. I'm authorizing emergency implementation of your shield design. Prioritize capital ships and Earth's orbital platforms. As the Admiral departed to mobilize Earth's defenses, Aisha and Sharma exchanged determined looks. We'll need every engineer working around the clock, Sharma said, already sending out priority notifications. Aisha nodded, turning back to her designs. The hegemony thinks they're coming to finish what they started, but they don't understand what they're facing. What's that? Sharma asked. A species that turns survival into an art form, she replied, adjusting calculations for mass deployment. They've been the undisputed masters of the galaxy for so long, they'd forgotten what it means to fight for your existence. Outside the viewport, Earth's orbital shipyards blazed with activity, a testament to humanity's refusal to surrender. Construction drones swarmed across partially completed defense platforms, while retrofitted civilian ships joined military vessels in defensive formations. When they return, Aisha said quietly, watching the preparations, they'll learn what humans do best, adapt and overcome. The command center beneath Geneva hummed with controlled tension as Admiral Vasquez studied the massive holographic display of the Sol system. 327 hegemony vessels had emerged from hyperspace near Saturn's rings, the largest alien armada ever assembled according to their intelligence reports. They've organized into 3 attack groups, Strategic Officer Kaminsky reported, highlighting the formations with a gesture. Vanguard force of 90 ships approaching the outer defense perimeter. 2 flanking groups holding position near Titan. Vasquez nodded, her face betraying none of the anxiety gripping her stomach. Humanity had assembled every operational vessel, 64 warships, plus another 48 converted civilian craft. The orbital defense grid was operational but untested in actual combat. Earth's fate would be decided in the next 24 hours. Status of Aisha's shield upgrades, she asked. Implemented on 85% of military vessels and all primary defense platforms, Kaminsky replied. Civilian ships have received basic retrofits. Vasquez tapped a secure channel to Captain Chen, who had survived the Jupiter engagement and now commanded Earth's primary defensive fleet. They're moving cautiously this time. The Jupiter battle taught them something. Chen's image nodded from the bridge of his new command. The heavy cruiser UEA is indomitable, but not enough. Their formation is still vulnerable to our dispersal tactics. Proceed as planned, Vasquez ordered. Operation Hidden Dagger is authorized. As the Hegemony Vanguard approached Mars orbit, their sensors detected minimal human defenses, just as their intelligence suggested. The Earth forces appeared to have consolidated around their homeworld, leaving the outer system largely unprotected. The primitives have retreated to their cradle, the Hegemony fleet commander transmitted to his armada. As predicted, what the alien sensors failed to detect were the thousands of miniaturized drones hidden throughout the asteroid belt, each carrying a fraction of the signature of a normal power source. Individually, they were virtually invisible. Together, they formed a devastating surprise. Admiral Vasquez watched the tactical display, silently counting down. "Now," she said quietly. Across the asteroid belt, the drones activated simultaneously. The Hegemony fleet suddenly found their sensitive sensor arrays bombarded with contradictory data. Communication channels became garbled with interference precisely calibrated to their frequencies. "First phase successful," Kaminsky reported. "Their formation is destabilizing." The second surprise followed immediately. Throughout the supposedly empty space between Mars and Earth, cloaked defensive platforms deactivated their stealth fields, revealing a three-dimensional grid of firepower surrounding the approaching Hegemony Vanguard. "All platforms, commence firing," Vasquez ordered. The space around the alien fleet erupted with coordinated fire. Hegemony vessels, their sensors compromised, struggled to identify targets or coordinate defensive measures. Still, their technological superiority allowed them to absorb the initial barrage with minimal losses. "They're adapting faster than expected," Chen reported as his fleet moved to engage. "Their electronic countermeasures are neutralizing our drone network." Vasquez nodded grimly. "Execute pincer movement. Draw them into Grid Sector 7. The real battle began as Earth's fleet engaged the Hegemony Vanguard. Human vessels equipped with Aisha's shield technology absorbed tremendous punishment, the energy of alien weapons actually strengthening their defenses rather than depleting them. When Hegemony ships finally penetrated these shields, they encountered Dr. Sharma's honeycomb hull design that kept human ships operational despite severe damage. Most bewildering to the alien commanders, human crews conducted emergency repairs during combat, a concept so foreign to Hegemony doctrine that they had no tactical response prepared. Their primary vessels continue functioning despite 70% structural damage, reported a Hegemony subcommander, confusion evident in their transmission. This defies established combat parameters. The fleet commander's response came with uncharacteristic emotion. Concentrate all fire on their flagship. It must have central control over their fleet. It was a fundamental misunderstanding of human military organization. Unlike the hierarchical hegemony, Earth vessels operated with distributed command structures. When communications were compromised, captains continued fighting according to established doctrine, rather than awaiting specific orders. Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Chen directed his ship through a hail of enemy fire, the enhanced shields glowing brighter with each impact. "Bring us alongside the Hegemony command vessel," he ordered. "Engineering, prepare for close-range discharge." The human cruiser maneuvered impossibly close to the alien flagship, its hull scorched and breached in multiple sections, but core systems still operational. What followed stunned the Hegemony tacticians. The Indomitable deliberately vented its shield energy in a focused burst directly into the alien vessel's sensor array, overloading its detection systems. For 36 hours, the battle raged throughout Earth's orbital space. Hegemony ships, designed for precision and elegance, found themselves in chaotic close-quarters combat, where human vessels' durability proved decisive. Human crews worked in rotating shifts, conducting repairs and maintaining combat effectiveness despite exhaustion. The Hegemony, unprepared for extended engagements, found their performance degrading as the battle stretched on. In the command center, Admiral Vasquez monitored the shifting tactical situation. Dark circles under her eyes, but her voice steady. "They're experiencing command disruption," she noted as the alien formation began fragmenting. "Their flanking groups are moving inconsistently." Kaminsky zoomed the tactical display on the Hegemony flagship, now surrounded by 5 human vessels pouring concentrated fire into its weakening defenses. Their admiral is attempting to regroup, but individual ship commanders are breaking formation. Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. They're not accustomed to losing. As the 40th hour of continuous battle approached, the unthinkable happened. The Hegemony flagship, its elegant crystalline structure, shattered in multiple sections, began a controlled retreat. Throughout the battlefield, alien vessels disengaged from combat, falling back to defensive formations before initiating hyperspace jumps. For the first time in 40,000 years of recorded history, a Hegemony fleet had not just withdrawn tactically, it had been defeated. The war room aboard the UES Resolute hummed with anticipation as captains from across Earth's fleet gathered for the first offensive briefing of the conflict. Admiral Vasquez stood before the tactical display, her uniform crisp despite the exhaustion evident in her eyes. The victory at Earth had come at a cost. 27 ships lost, thousands of crew members killed or injured, but humanity had survived. Now they would do more than survive. They would take the fight to the enemy. 3 weeks ago, the Hegemony believed they would subjugate Earth in a matter of days. Vasquez began, her voice carrying through the chamber. Today we begin operations that will secure humanity's place among the stars. The display shifted to show Hegemony territory, vast and sprawling across hundreds of star systems. Intelligence gathered from captured databases revealed the Empire's structure, its strengths, and most importantly, its vulnerabilities. The Hegemony has maintained dominance through technological superiority and the psychological impact of their undefeated fleet. Strategic Officer Kaminsky explained. With both advantages now compromised, their control systems are showing strain. Several member species have already sent discreet communications, suggesting separate peace negotiations. Captain Chen, his face bearing new scars from the Earth battle, studied the display with narrowed eyes. They'll be expecting us to fortify Sol's system. They won't anticipate an immediate counteroffensive. Precisely, Vasquez agreed. We've identified 3 primary objectives for the first phase. The hologram highlighted key locations in neighboring sectors. Their forward resupply stations, long-range sensor arrays, and most critically, their shipyard at Proxima Centauri. She divided the assembled officers into strike groups, each led by captains who had demonstrated exceptional tactical thinking during Earth's defense. Most ships still showed battle damage, scorched hulls, and patched sections, but all were combat-ready. Captain Chen, you'll command our most critical mission, Vasquez continued, zooming the display to the Proxima Centauri shipyards. Intelligence indicates it's where they're refitting their fleet with weapons specifically designed to counter our defensive innovations. Chen nodded solemnly, understanding the gravity of the assignment. What resources will we have? You'll command Task Force Valor, the Indomitable, plus 5 destroyers and our 3 new stealth frigates. She met his gaze. This mission carries the highest risk, but potentially the greatest impact. As officers dispersed to prepare their vessels, Chen lingered, studying the shipyard schematics. Their defenses look formidable. They are, Vasquez acknowledged. But Dr. Sharma has developed a hyperspace calculation that might give you an edge. She transferred data to his secure tablet. It's theoretical, but if it works. Chen's eyes widened as he reviewed the equations. This would put us inside their defensive perimeter. They'd consider it mathematically impossible. Which is precisely why it might succeed, Vasquez replied. The Hegemony's greatest weakness is their inability to conceive of solutions that violate their established principles. 1 week later, alarms blared throughout the Proxima Centauri shipyards as impossible sensor readings registered multiple human vessels, materializing directly within the facility's inner security zone. According to every hyperspace navigation principle the Hegemony had established over millennia, such precision was unattainable. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Chen watched as his tactical display confirmed their position. All ships, Commence Operation Thunderstrike. Weapons free, priority targets as designated. The human vessels unleashed coordinated fire on the shipyard's power distribution nodes and communication arrays. Hegemony defenders scrambled to respond, but their defensive systems had been configured to repel attacks from outside the perimeter, not within it. Their response is fragmented. Chen's tactical officer reported. No coordinated defensive fire. The Indomitable shuddered as it absorbed counterattacks from the station's automated defenses, but Aisha's shield technology performed magnificently, growing stronger with each impact. When hegemony reinforcements finally arrived, they found the human task force systematically dismantling the most advanced shipbuilding facility in this sector of space. Central fabrication complex destroyed, the tactical officer announced. Research database secured and downloaded. Chen nodded. Begin Phase 2 targeting. Engineering, prepare for hyperspace calculations on my mark. The Hegemony commander's transmission cut through the communication channels. Your vessels are surrounded and outnumbered. Surrender immediately. Chen allowed himself a small smile. We didn't come here to stay, he replied before cutting the channel. Execute jump sequence. The human ships vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind a crippled shipyard and bewildered defenders. Similar scenes played out across hegemony space as human strike forces appeared at strategic locations, inflicted maximum damage, and disappeared before substantial resistance could be mobilized. The psychological impact was devastating. The once invincible hegemony found itself vulnerable in ways its leadership had never imagined possible. In the Hegemony Central Command, the Axiom High Commander faced unprecedented dissent from representatives of member species. 3 major shipyards destroyed, 17 outposts neutralized, and our communication network compromised. The Vreen delegate chittered anxiously. These humans fight unlike any species we've encountered. They're primitive and will be crushed, the High Commander insisted, though with noticeably less conviction than before. Primitive. The Merid representative's tentacles waved dismissively. They've adapted our technology and combined it with approaches we discarded ages ago. The result is troublingly effective. As the hegemony leadership argued, humanity pressed its advantage. Within 3 weeks, Earth's offensive had secured multiple star systems and established forward bases. Captured hegemony vessels were studied, their technology reverse-engineered and integrated with human designs. Aboard the Resolute, Admiral Vasquez reviewed reports from across the expanding front with grim satisfaction. Phase 1 objectives achieved, she noted. Casualties below projected estimates. Kaminsky nodded. And we're receiving additional communications from hegemony member worlds seeking separate agreements. Vasquez studied the strategic display, where human-controlled territory now formed a significant wedge into what had once been unchallenged hegemony space. The real test comes next, she said quietly. They're consolidating their core fleets for a major counterattack. The question is whether they've learned enough about how we fight to adapt. And if they have, Kaminsky asked. Vasquez's expression hardened with determination. Then we'll remind them that adaptation is what humans do best. The sacred chamber of the Hegemony Council had remained unchanged for 40,000 years, its crystalline architecture designed to inspire awe and reinforce the permanence of galactic order. Today, however, the chamber resonated with something unfamiliar: discord. Representatives of the 7 ruling species gathered in emergency session, their customary formality strained by the unprecedented crisis. The massive holographic display dominating the center of the chamber showed real-time updates of human incursions into territories long considered unassailable. This situation has become intolerable, the Axiom Elder declared, its crystalline form pulsating with agitation. 3 standard months of continuous human expansion. 47 systems compromised. The balance we have maintained for millennia threatens to collapse. The Merid scientist counselor gestured with elegant tentacles toward the display. Our military response has proven insufficient. Human vessels continue to operate effectively despite damage that would render our ships non-functional. Their tactical approaches violate established principles of strategic doctrine. Their technology should not work as effectively as it does," added the Talaxian representative, 6 eyes blinking in sequence. "They combine elements we determined were incompatible centuries ago. It defies rational analysis." From the shadows emerged the youngest member of the council, the insectoid Vreen representative, whose species had joined the hegemony mere 4,000 years ago. "Perhaps," it suggested, mandibles clicking thoughtfully, "we have approached this conflict incorrectly from the beginning." "Explain," demanded the Axiom Elder. "We categorized humans as primitive based on their technological development curve," the Vreen continued. "But their adaptability suggests a different kind of advancement. Their history shows continuous conflict and survival challenges, experiences our civilizations abandoned millennia ago." Before the debate could continue, chamber alarms activated with a frequency none present had ever heard, the highest alert possible. Security fields automatically engaged around the assembled representatives as the central display shifted to show an impossible image. A single human vessel had appeared in their heavily guarded home system, bypassing layered defenses considered impenetrable. "How?" the Axiom Elder demanded, crystalline structure vibrating with outrage. "This system is protected by 3 defensive rings and temporal distortion fields." The answer came not from his subordinates, but from the main communication screen, where Admiral Vasquez's image appeared, her uniform bearing subtle battle damage yet meticulously presentable. "Esteemed representatives of the galactic hegemony," she began, her tone formal but confident. "I am Admiral Elena Vasquez of the United Earth ship Resolute. I come with the authority to negotiate terms for ending this conflict." Security protocols engaged automatically, initiating signal termination, but the transmission continued uninterrupted. Another impossibility. "Your communication systems are temporarily under our control," Vasquez explained calmly. "I recommend you hear my proposal before attempting further countermeasures." The Axiom Elder moved to summon defensive fleets, but the Vreen representative raised a restraining limb. "Let us hear these terms. What harm can come from listening?" Vasquez nodded acknowledgement. 3 months ago, your forces attacked Earth believing our defenses inadequate. You now understand this was a miscalculation. What you may not yet comprehend is the extent of our current position. The display shifted to show star maps with highlighted locations throughout hegemony territory. Human stealth vessels currently maintain position near the capital worlds of all 7 hegemony species. We could have chosen destruction. Instead, we choose conversation. Stunned silence filled the chamber, not just at the audacity of the threat, but at the revelation that humans possessed such capability, yet still sought diplomatic resolution, a concept foreign to hegemony thinking, which had always valued complete victory over compromise. "This is a deception," the Axiom Elder declared. "No species could penetrate our combined defenses so thoroughly." Admiral Vasquez's expression remained composed. "To demonstrate our sincerity, I've authorized transmission of our current coordinates and specifications. Verify our presence yourselves." Data streamed across hegemony systems, confirming the impossible. Human vessels had indeed infiltrated their most secure territories, using methods that circumvented rather than overpowered their defenses. "What do you want?" asked the Vreen representative finally, compound eyes reflecting the tactical display. "Recognition of human sovereignty, guaranteed territories, and an exchange of knowledge that benefits all our civilizations," Vasquez replied. The married counselor's tentacles waved dismissively. "You expect us to believe you've achieved this position only to request diplomatic recognition. Any species capable of such military success would demand surrender." Vasquez's smile carried a hint of sadness. "That assumption reveals the core misunderstanding between us. Humanity doesn't seek domination. We never have. We defended ourselves when attacked, and now demonstrate our capabilities to ensure you recognize us as equals, not subjects." The chamber erupted in multilingual debate as the council struggled to comprehend this approach. The Axiom Elder demanded immediate military response, while the Vreen and Merid representatives advocated for negotiation. "Consider this," Vasquez continued when the clamor subsided. "Your civilization has maintained stability through technological superiority and unquestioned military dominance. Both assumptions have now been challenged. You can adapt to this new reality, or resist it. But resistance has proven ineffective against our vessels and tactics." She gestured, and the display shifted to show Earth, blue and vibrant. "In 3 standard days, I will return to this chamber. Consider your response carefully. Humanity would prefer allies to adversaries, but we are prepared for either." The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in unprecedented disorder as the 7 species confronted a fundamental choice: adapt to a changed galaxy or cling to principles that no longer ensured their dominance. The Vreen representative watched the others argue, its compound eyes reflecting the tactical display still showing human vessels positioned throughout their territory. "They could have destroyed us," it observed quietly. "Instead, they offer partnership. Perhaps we should consider what that reveals about their civilization and ours." 5 years after the historic first meeting between Admiral Vasquez and the Hegemony Council, the Galactic Concord headquarters on neutral Vega III bustled with activity. The massive curved structure, combining architectural elements from 8 distinct species, stood as a physical embodiment of the unprecedented cooperation now shaping interstellar relations. Elena Vasquez, now serving as Earth's primary representative to the Concord Council, walked alongside the Vreen ambassador through the Memorial Garden. Stone monuments honored those lost in what historians now called the Recognition War, each inscription rendered in multiple languages. "Your species continues to confound expectations," the Vreen diplomat noted, compound eyes reflecting the setting sun. When the Council signed the armistice, many believed humans would eventually seek dominance once your fleets expanded. Elena smiled, pausing before a fountain where water and light intertwined in a display designed by Merid artisans. "That assumption reveals more about the hegemony's history than humanity's intentions. We never wanted galactic dominance, just the freedom to determine our own path." Beyond the garden's perimeter, the spaceport hummed with vessels from across the former hegemony territories, now reorganized as the Galactic Concord. Patrol ships bearing the 8-pointed star of the Noob Alliance maintained watch, crewed by mixed-species teams. Most striking were the joint-designed vessels that combined hegemony elegance with human practicality, beautiful yet resilient. "The Axioms still maintain their distance," the Vreen observed. "Their representatives participate in council sessions, but resist deeper integration. Change comes slowly to a species that measured stability in tens of thousands of years," Elena replied diplomatically. "But even they have begun incorporating human engineering principles into their vessel designs." They continued toward the adjacent Engineering Academy, where the collaborative future of interspecies technology was taking shape. Inside the main laboratory, Dr. Rajiv Sharma and Aisha Okafor led a diverse team of specialists from multiple worlds. Holographic displays showed starship schematics incorporating innovations that would have been impossible for any single civilization working alone. "The honeycomb structure supports the Merid sensor web seamlessly," Aisha explained to a group of students representing 6 different species. "What was once dismissed as primitive now forms the foundation of our joint fleet." Dr. Sharma, his hair now streaked with gray, manipulated another display showing hybrid shield systems. "By combining hegemony precision with human adaptability, we've developed defenses that neither civilization could have created independently." The Talaxian students, with their 6 eyes, studied the designs with particular interest. Their civilization, once among the most resistant to human influence, had become enthusiastic adopters of Earth's engineering philosophy after their homeworld was protected from a rogue asteroid by human vessels that persisted through conditions their own ships couldn't have endured. As Elena entered the laboratory, conversations paused momentarily in recognition. She had become a symbol of the new order, the admiral whose unstoppable ships had forced a galactic recalculation. Ambassador Vasquez, Aisha greeted her former commander warmly. Perfect timing. We're about to test the new temporal shielding concept. Alina joined the observation area as the test chamber activated. The demonstration combined axiom-temporal physics with human-designed adaptive materials, creating protection against weapons that operated outside normal time. Technology that neither civilization would have shared during the conflict. Remarkable. The Vreen ambassador chittered, mandibles clicking in appreciation. My ancestors would have considered such cooperation unimaginable. As would mine, Alina acknowledged. Fear of the unknown is a universal trait. What's changed is our willingness to move beyond it. Later, in the Concord Council chamber, representatives from the 8 major civilizations gathered to commemorate the 5th anniversary of the treaty signing. The Axiom delegate, though still formal, participated without the hostility that had characterized early sessions. The expansion of joint patrol routes has reduced piracy by 73%, reported the Merid counselor, particularly in regions where traditional hegemony influence had waned. The human delegation presented updates on the exchange program that brought specialists from all member worlds to Earth's academies, while sending human experts throughout Concord space. What had begun as a tentative diplomatic initiative had blossomed into the most extensive cultural and technological exchange in recorded history. As the session concluded, Captain Marcus Chen, now Fleet Commander Chen, presented the commissioning schedule for the newest generation of joint design vessels. Unlike the warships that had proven unstoppable during the conflict, these were primarily exploration and scientific platforms, though they retained the resilience that had become humanity's signature contribution. The UCS Horizon will launch next month, Chen reported, using the United Concord ship designation that had replaced military classifications. Her mission is to explore the galactic core regions previously considered too hazardous for conventional vessels. Alina studied the ship specifications with quiet pride. The Horizon incorporated technology from all 8 civilizations, but at its heart lay the same principle that had saved Earth, the determination to continue functioning despite damage or adversity. As council members dispersed, Alina found herself alone with the Vreen ambassador on the observation deck overlooking the sprawling Concord complex. Stars glittered above, each potentially holding new civilizations, new challenges. When our forces first encountered your vessels, we believed their resilience was some technological secret, the Vreen admitted. We never considered that the true strength might lie in the philosophy behind their design. Alina nodded, watching shuttles from 8 worlds moving through the evening sky. That's the lesson humanity learned through centuries of our own conflicts and challenges. Technology evolves. Circumstances change. But adaptability, determination, and cooperation, those endure. She gestured toward the distant shipyards where vessels of human and alien design were under construction side by side. Perhaps that's the greatest victory. Not that our warships were unstoppable, but that they brought us to a place where warships might someday be unnecessary. The Vreen's compound eyes reflected the lights of the complex below, a sentiment even the Axiom might eventually appreciate. As night fell over Vega II, the 8-pointed star of the Concord illuminated the headquarters dome, a symbol not of dominance, but of civilizations that had discovered, through conflict and cooperation, that they were stronger together than apart.